while Rinpoche was teaching Ajahn Mahamua, and so I met Ajahn Paniwado and Jerry then. And then we taped Ajahn Phan, who was very famous, and was the king and queen's teacher at the time. And then went to Lumpu Khao, and that's the one I really like. Because, I don't know, he gave me something that I still, appreciate. Like, he was sitting in a wheelchair, he was very old, and so, I was sitting at a distance from him, and Pacha and Ajahn Mahamon were there, and they were taping his talk, and I didn't really pay much attention because my language wasn't very good. So anyway, it was time to go, and Ajahn Chah and Ajahn Mahamon left. We're getting up and going, and then Lumpu Khao says, "Money, money." He beckons to me, and he says, I can understand money, I said, come here, and so I go very close to him, and then he points to his chest and he says, "Kwamja Yutine, and the truth is here," and he goes like this, and I thought that's something that, it was simple, that Thai I could understand that much, but it was profound, because it was coming from a pure mind. So I was like him, and I before I went to England, I went to see him in Udon, and he was very old, and I heard, he's about ready to die, really, so I thought, well, I don't want to bother him, I'll just go and bow. That's enough. I'm not. So I went to Tam Klong Pen, went there, and the monks that were looking after Lumpu Khao, I said, look, I don't want to. I realize that his health isn't very good. He's probably resting. I just want to pay respect. And I'm willing to do it outside the room. I don't even have to. But they insisted I go in. And so I went in, there's a fairly dark room, and I saw this kind of body lying on the mat, and I kind of crawled over to it. It looked like a corpse, like a dead body, and then I say something, and then Lumpu Khao, who's emaciated, very thin, small, looked like a corpse, body very old, suddenly opens his eyes, and his eyes are just so bright. As a man, I'll never forget, out of this corpse, corpse-like. And he has always had a bright character and very good humor. So he gave me his blessing. I told him what I was planning to do.
Oh, you actually spoke to him on that occasion?
Yeah. That was just before I went to England.
Could you communicate? You could communicate with him in Thai.
Yeah.
He explained.
And Ajahn Phan, he was charismatic, and he had a kind of charisma about him, and he was very famous at the time. And I like to go just listen to him. Like I'd go stay at his monastery in Sukhumhakorn, and then I'd just sit under with him in his kuti. He'd be sitting down below, and I'd just go there and then listen to him talk to like he could teach all levels of Thai society, like the Queen of Thailand, or the aristocracy, or Thai farmer, shopkeeper. I mean, his Dhamma just flowed out, and he didn't seem to care who was, about your status or social status, and you got the same teaching. Everybody did, they were just an illiterate farmer or Queen Sirikit. Very impressive. And then he gave me a Cuban cigar.
Did you smoke it?
I didn't smoke then, but I eventually did, because I thought, this is,
Suspicious.
little fun. It's fun.
I hear this story from when Lupa Chow was in New York, and the poor bride they were driving them around, and Ajahn Chow was smoking, saying, far away from my popo. Kovat, but the popo is not counting here.
Yeah, when I went to Wat Ma Pong the first time in 1967, everybody smoked. And after the evening puja, they'd pass out 5 cigarettes to each monk. So people were buying cigarettes, and then they'd pass them, divide them up. So everybody got 5 each. And but I didn't smoke, you see. So I give them to other monks. It made me fairly popular, And then Jack Cornfield came to spend the Pantha, and another, he was Dr. Burns. He was an American psychiatrist, and I think he worked for the American Embassy. But he was fluent in Thai, and he also knew Pali, and he was a Buddhist, and he was about the same age as I was, about 30. And so he was he temporarily ordained, because he was married, and so he got permission from his wife. So Jack Cornfield and Dr. Burns and myself, we spent Pantha with Lupa Chow, and at Wat Ma Pong, and that Pantha, Ajahn Chow forbade smoking and chewing betel nut to everybody. So, of course, Dr. Burns and Jack Cornfield, the last he's seen, because they have the strong views about smoking and betel nut. So, they were kind of holding Ajahn Chow up as a great teacher, because he receives agrees with them. But then one day I was outside the gate of Wat Ma Pong, and I passed Ajahn Chow, and he was smoking a cigarette.
Outside the gate.
Outside the gate.
That's like the late people
being
sometimes.
sneaky or what?
Like the late people sometimes going out with from the others.
And of course that, then my mind said, he makes everybody stop what he's doing, and, then I started grumbling and complaining. And then eventually lay people started bringing him betel nut, and they make this very nice, fresh betel nut, and with all the condiments with it, and bring it to him, after he's given a talk in the cellar. And a lot of the monks wanted to stop it, and he shouldn't be doing this. But then Ajahn Jahn, his senior disciple, he was there one day, and then the monks were complaining about Ajahn Chah chewing betel nut. We should stop the lay people from giving it to him. And Lumpur Ajahn just said, "Look, let him chew betel nut." And he said it in such a nice way. I thought, that's nicer frame of mind than we've got to stop him, it's not right, and getting all righteous about it. And like, that's what I was doing, getting very righteous. But then when you look at your mind, that's not a very pleasant mental state. It's painful to be righteous and then trying to control everybody. And then thinking, I've got to stop Ajahn Chah from doing this. And so, I could see Ajahn Chah wasn't particularly interested in himself, but he was interested in stopping the lay people giving cigarettes, spending money, giving cigarettes to monks, and both for, the lay people and the health of the monks.
Yeah.
So, fair enough.
Well, Lumpur, that must have been, there weren't many monasteries in Thailand probably that didn't do smoking or betel nut.
In Isan, everybody did.
Yeah.
All of Lumpur Phang and Luntaburs. And they taught, give dasanas with a mouthful of this betel nut.
Yeah. Did you ever try it yourself, Lumpur?
Yeah, I do. I found it repulsive habit at first, but because I was always invited to these katina things, and then you'd go to these branch monasteries, and everybody'd be having a good time except me. So I thought maybe I should learn to chew betel nut.
Yeah.
I tried, but I never liked it. I just never.
Yeah, where I'm up in Chiang Mai, the way they're always offering cigarettes and betel nut and all this stuff to monks. And there's one monk where I'm at who smokes and will chew betel nut, but most don't. And so we just kind of end up throwing it away, which is kind of sad. But
Well, when I came, the smoking was. Everybody smoked. I mean, like my generation in the States, we all smoked. You smoked. You took it for granted. You didn't question. And they had, Ronald Reagan advertised Chesterfield cigarettes on the TV.
What was it really?
Yeah, because they still on YouTube have commercials of Ronald Reagan.
So, Lumpur, do you remember of how Lumpur Cha would interact with the Krooba Ajahns when he'd go to see?
Yeah, they seem to, like, because he was Mahanikai, but they, Ajahn Mahabua thinks the world, he used to think the world of Ajahn Chah. Because Ajahn Chah did establish the kind of Korwat of Ajahn Man and the Tamayuk style. And some didn't really care about that, so you could, like in Nong Khai, Lumpur Juan. I went there, Putok, he didn't, he wanted me to attend Parimok and everything. And then and at first Ajahn Mahabua didn't seem to care, but then I think the Bangkok seniority kind of made it necessary.
Oh, I see.
To so then you get, you would have to sit at the end of the line, things like that. Lumpur Ban never seemed to hold to it.
Yes. these days, anyway, when I was there 5 years ago, Papan has you sit outside of Hatapasa, like inside the Sima,
With
during the Patimokkha.
no, right with the right in the Sangha.
Oh, come.
Well, it's good practice because you know your mind goes, my mind is even better than yours, kind of thing. Mind, like my personality resents that kind of discrimination. But the whole point, is to observe what suffering is. Not to make things into problems, because then you get it, why not? I'm not a member of their group, I'm not in the Sangwasa, there's no point in me, being there at all. Because the Patimokkha is about, the monks you live with, not guests. Or like a different Sangwasa.
Mm-hmm.
So then when you look at it a different way, it's all right. If you look at it and like, oh, they think they're better than we are, then it's not all right. This is where you get to know your own mind, how you react to life and praise and blame, being discriminated against or being included, because the whole point of the practice is to be in this state of mindfulness rather than just trying to make the world right, complain about it when it doesn't seem right.
What do you think about to live with great teachers? You had the opportunity to live with Ajahns and people with Luan Puman, Luan Mahaboa, Luan Mahaboa, Ajahn Fan. I don't know, sometimes you have the problem to try to find a perfect teacher, but we don't need to. We can practice in everywhere, but I think it's completely different to have the opportunity to live with some people like Ajahn Chah. We are following his teaching until today, and so sounds like we are always talking about the old times and listening I don't know, I think it's something really amazing to have this opportunity.
But actually, it's good, but you actually have the teaching and when the Buddha was passing on, he said, "I give you when Ananda said, what do we do without a teacher? He said, I leave you the Dhamma Vinaya." And so that's significant. But the thing about a living teacher is that it's so easy for us to see it as kind of as historical, and you actually, and you can kind of and be impressed with the Buddha, the historical Buddha, and scriptures, and all that. Then a lot of self-doubt, and then we tend to make judgments about other teachers and monks from our own deluded mind state. So, I found, I wasn't really looking for a teacher, but I was looking for solitude. I just wanted to be out of the society. But then I did eventually, the first year as a summoner and then meeting Ajahn Chah. But it just happened. It wasn't like I was looking for that. So, it's just learning to use what you have, really, what's available. Because so you can learn from life itself. So I can, I've lived with, like, Ajahn, and I, lived in branch monasteries where the head monk I didn't really like and didn't admire very much, but then I learned from that, because you're always comparing the others with Ajahn Chah. And so, you're observing, you're learning from the way things are. I think I have to have the best teacher in order to really develop, because, I know people that do that, and they never find one. Even when they find one, it ends up with some kind of disillusionment. Because you can create a perfect teacher in your mind. It's like a marble statue, a Greek god or something, that's perfect proportions and beautiful to look at. But that's all an ideal teacher is. It's just an idea. It doesn't have any nerve endings, doesn't have blood in it, doesn't feel anything. Marble statue of the Buddha, you can swear and throw tomatoes at it, and the Buddha Rupa just sits there. But if you do that to a living Buddhist monk, then it's different.
Hadn't you said in your early years you had some disillusionment or doubts about Ajahn?
Yeah, because you tend to expect, you form, what you want. I could see how I wanted Ajahn to be, and how I wanted him to fit my ideal, and he didn't. He wasn't ideal. He was. But that was what I needed to learn about being human, and not seek for perfection, because I can create the ideal of it, but to awaken to the realities of change, conditioned phenomena changing, praise and blame, and happiness and suffering, and this whole realm that we have to endure in this form is not ideal realm. It's like this. Being human beings like this, we each have our own karma to live with. That's why you learn not to be so critical of others when you recognize that each one of us has to work out our karma. It's not the same for everyone. And some people have, strange personalities or different, attitudes or whatever, and you can, if you're judging it from your conditioned mind, you can be very critical and dismissive. But when you think you're giving people an opportunity, like you're here now, to work out your karma, so you're kind of submitting yourself to a common form, like the Pokal form or the Manat Bhikkhu form. So that's a conventional form we agree to, but you're going, each one of you is going to have different emotional reactions and problems and obsessions and things that come up that sometimes we don't share. I've seen in my own life, monks or nuns just have all kinds of problems that I don't understand. What's the problem? But they're very real for that person. Can I deny that? Am I the standard of how people should be? That's conceit, isn't it? If they don't react like me, there's something wrong with them. It's like you learn to respect the people's attempts to work out their karma, no matter what it is. In England, there was a English monk, very eccentric character, and I kept thinking he shouldn't be the way he is, and I never said this to him, but I mean, he's a very sensitive kind of person, so he picked up this, and he developed a great aversion to me. He became very hostile to me personally, and then he's just over the top, and I was blaming him for this problem, and he saw such a kind of individual eccentric that a lot of people didn't like him and things like this. So you could even find support for your own views. And then suddenly I saw what I was doing. I was saying, in my mind, I never said this to him, but I was saying, I don't want you to be the way you are, I want you to be the way I think you should be. And I thought, no, I just accept him as the way he is, and not try to change him I mean, he was a good monk. He wasn't like he was breaking rules or doing anything bad, just very odd reactions to things. And when I saw that, then he kind of, our relationship changed, became very good friends. So that was...
You still in Rome?
Yeah. So I was the one that was wrong rather than him. I'm the head monk there. I'm supposed to, but then I was seeing him as that he should change his ways. And then I realized, no, the problem is with me.
Let's talk about perfect teacher, but reading stories about disciples of Ajahn, they say sometimes it was very hard. For example, in the book Venerable Father Paul Greater says sometimes Ajahn Chah is say, this monk, he don't know how to practice. He used his method sometimes it was very, very hard. It's not just easy, it's a very nice teacher. And how was to live with this kind of things sometimes?
I developed a lot of trust in Ajahn Chah immediately, really. So I even though I could doubt some of the things, and I could get angry with him and things like this, but what he was always getting me to do was look at my mind. So, and I could do that. So sometimes, and it worked because, I did trust him, so I didn't, I never, even though I had doubts and anger, I never really mistrusted Ajahn Chah.
Even when you caught him smoking?
Well, I was disappointed and I shouldn't be doing that, but I could be aware of that, like a reaction, my personal reaction to that. And then I appreciated, the training, because I didn't, foreigner coming into Isan Monastery, you don't know anything, and you just, don't know the language or what people are like or that. You just have, you have an interest in it all, but you have to deal with so many unknown things, and when you're in a state like that, your mind can really get weird, I could get paranoid and suspicious and of things because I didn't understand, what they were saying, Then sometimes my mind would create kind of paranoid delusions around it. But because of the directness of Rinpoche, I could actually, not believe my own emotional reaction.